Coming up, we tell you how locals are handling the possible shutdown of the Iowa City Labor Center.
And later, we give you the latest on those running for state legislator.
Coming up in sports, we have more from Iowa's win over Iowa State this weekend.
And an update from the Iowa basketball program.
A look into Hurricane Florence, followed by our lovely pre-fall forecast. More in weather.
All that and more coming up on this Tuesday morning edition of DITV.
Don't click away. DITV News starts right now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Anthony Caligiuri.
And I'm Becca Scout.
Today commemorates the 17th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, a day that changed the course of recent history. 4 passenger airplanes were hijacked by the terrorist group Al-Qaeda.
2 planes hit the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York. The 2 towers collapsed within less than 2 hours after that first plane hit.
The 3rd plane crashed into the Pentagon, which led to the partial building collapse. The 4th plane was being flown towards Washington, D.C., but instead crashed into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
The attacks killed nearly 3,000 people with over 6,000 injured. On Sunday, Memorial opened in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, dedicated to the passengers and airline crew that were killed on the 4th hijacked plane on September 11th, Flight 93. Named the Tower of Voices, the tower stands 93 feet tall and features a unique wind chime for each of the 40 who died in the crash. This new tower adds to the Memorial Plaza, which was dedicated on the 10th anniversary of the attacks.
And last night, there was a public hearing regarding the closing of the Iowa City Labor Center.
With a recap of the night, we have Samantha Ostwick in studio to tell us more. Sam, what do you have to tell us?
Yeah, Becca, students came back to campus this fall to find out the University of Iowa decided over the summer to close the Labor Center. Last night, a public hearing was held to hear testimony from members of the community on why the Labor Center is critical to those in the working force and fight to keep the Labor Center open.
I just think the Labor Center is super important because it educates workers all around Iowa, and that is beneficial not only to the workers but to the students, because students are workers as well. I'm going to be talking about how I'm an out-of-state student and I pay higher tuition, but I still support some of my tuition going to the Labor Center, even though it is a very small amount of the UI budget. And I'm also going to be talking about how the Labor Center is really important to people with disabilities and knowing their rights in the workplace.
It was an emotional night at Old Brick Church as those who've gained education and advice from the Labor Center spoke out on the impact it made in their life, as well as the reasons it's a crucial addition to the state of Iowa. Speakers from the community ranged from elementary teachers, University of Iowa law professors, nurses, to immigrants, low-wage workers, single moms, and university students, all who were given the resources and knowledge by the Labor Center to turn their life around and speak up against unfair working conditions. Teaching assistant Ashley Dorn spoke of the labor union's importance.
It is an exemplar of the mission statement of the university. It helps students, it teaches students across the whole state, right? And students are not just the people here, students are everyone who invests in this university and takes a class from this institution. And those people are across Iowa. They support this university and they're committed to the values that it has, and the Labor Center is a really integral part of making that happen.
After last night's meeting, there's been no final word from the Board of Regents on if the Labor Center will keep its doors open. This Thursday at 9:15 a.m. at the Iowa Memorial Union Public Lounge, comments will be available during the Public Board of Regents meeting, and following after at 10 a.m., there will be a press conference outside of the main lounge. We will keep you updated with all developments regarding the Labor Center. Back to you at the desk.
Iowa City Public Art Advocates have announced a new competition to commission an art piece for Iowa City City Hall. The Iowa City Public Art Advisory Committee is looking for a piece that showcases the values of Iowa City. Artists have until Friday, September 28th at 5 p.m. to submit their pieces through the City of Iowa City website or by email, flash drive, or CD. For more on this project, head to daily-iowan.com.
The Iowa Youth Writing Project has now expanded to a fully funded nonprofit program. The project was started in 2010 after UI students and faculty noticed a lack of writing opportunities between adults and children. During the year, students K through 12 will participate in weekly writing activities, with each student having their work published in a professionally designed anthology at the end of the year. To find out more about the Writing Project's expansion, you can read Kinsley Phipps' article in today's print edition of the Daily Iowan. And Becca, this weather's kind of been, all over the place, but now it's starting to finally cool down a little bit. It's starting to feel like fall.
Anthony, it might be a little early for these cooler temperatures, but I'm all about it if it means no more rain.
Right. Let's toss it over to Kennedy in the weather studio to let us know more about the weather. Kennedy?
Hey guys, before we get into this week's amazing forecast, I'd like to draw attention to a major hurricane nearing the East Coast, Hurricane Florence. Hurricane Florence was upgraded twice Monday to Category 4, prompting numerous warnings from state officials to not underestimate the threat the storm poses. The size of hurricane force winds doubled over 12 hours from 30 to 60 miles per hour. The National Hurricane Center said Monday afternoon the wind field is expected to keep growing, which will increase the storm surge and inland wind threats. The service said in a statement, the hurricane is said to be one of the strongest hurricanes to hit the East Coast ever. Good luck to those on the East Coast, as many families have made plans to evacuate their homes as soon as possible. Well, East Coasters, you are welcome to visit us for at least 1 week. That's right, guys. This week we will see beautiful temperatures, starting off with a high of 81 degrees with sunny skies throughout the day. At night, we will experience a low of 57 degrees with clear skies. Taking a look into the extended forecast, tomorrow we will see bright skies with a pleasant temperature of 79 degrees during the day and a chilly 58 at night. Thursday, temperatures are on the rise as we see the high reach a warm 82 degrees and at night 61 degrees. Friday brings us a friendly 86 degrees with partly cloudy skies during the day and 63 at night. And to end off this much needed warm week, we will see a high of 87 degrees with sunny skies all day and a low of 63. So Iowa City has finally come to the bright side, and I for once couldn't be happier. See you all next week. Guys, back to you.
Yesterday, a forum was held for the 8 candidates running for the Johnson County legislative seats.
There at the forum to tell us what went on as the candidates run for the 4 contested seats is Daily Iowan reporter Andy Mitchell. Andy, good morning.
Good morning, guys. 6 local legislative candidates met at the Coralville Public Library to discuss Iowa's privatized Medicaid system, collective bargaining, education, and other audience questions. Democrat candidates Jody Clemens, Zach Walls, and Joe Bolcom blasted the decision to privatize Medicaid as a disaster for both the state's budget and residents. Libertarian candidate Carl Krambeck said if elected he would be open to pushing for state-run Medicaid for groups like the elderly, disabled, and those in need of long-term care. On the subject of collective bargaining in the public sector, all candidates said public sector workers should be able to collectively bargain for more than just their wages. The recent budget cuts to the University of Iowa and Iowa State was brought up as well, with UI undergrad and Republican candidate Patrick Ronkowitz saying college tuition and affordability in university budget is a top priority of his district.
And Andy, how do you think last night will affect the election coming up?
Newcomers Zach Walls and Jody Clemens had a very strong showing, but it will be tough to beat incumbent candidates. So for people like Patrick Ronkowitz, it'll be important for him to distinguish himself as an important member of the University of Iowa community, and maybe that can resonate with some student voters.
All right, Andy Mitchell in the newsroom, thank you.
U.S. News and World reports the 2019 Best Colleges ranking shows a slip for Iowa, ranking in at number 38, which is 7 spots lower from last year. The University of Iowa's standing in relation to other peer institutions would continue to slip without sufficient state support. UI officials say the rankings do not come as a surprise when considering generational disinvestment. Budget cuts to the State Board of Regents amounted to around $35 million in the last 2 years alone. Other reductions in support of the budget cut included a 5-month campus construction moratorium, freezes in faculty pay, as well as regents voting to hike tuition at various rates for students across the state's 3 major universities. For more, you can check out Daily Iowan reporter Marissa Payne's article on daily-iowan.com. Well, Anthony, we may have had a bit of a slip in that ranking right there, but I don't think our student section has slipped at all this season.
No, if you guys were at the game on this past Saturday, it was very electric, and we just announced yesterday that 2 more night games are ahead of us in our schedule, so I think it's going to be a pretty good season so far.
Can't wait. Let's toss it over to Natalie and Alexis for more on our win against State this weekend. Guys?
Thanks, guys. It was definitely nice to be back in Kennewick this weekend, especially against in-state rival Iowa State.
100% agree with you, Alexis. It's almost like indescribable to say how exciting Kennewick is to be in there during a football game. And coming into this season, a big question for Iowa was the lack of experience on the defensive side of the ball. But Iowa found their answer against Iowa State this weekend. With more is Lucy Rodine.
I didn't know what to expect, quite frankly.
Not even head coach Kirk Ferentz expected the performance we saw from an inexperienced Iowa defense on Saturday, where they held Iowa State to 19 rushing yards and just a single field goal.
You know, we're really inexperienced at the linebacker position, and neither of our corners really have much experience either, so we're kind of better, you know, at the two safety positions from an experience standpoint and up front, and I think those guys are really helping set the tempo.
I think we're still building on something, but after 2 games, I think we've got some good momentum.
And in just 2 games, the defense has held its opponents to just 10 total points.
Our expectations are to dominate, and that's just what we do every day.
Iowa's dominant performances over Northern Illinois and Iowa State can be attributed to an undeniable chemistry within this defensive unit.
The whole defense is together right now, so it makes it easy for guys, you know, just to if they see something they're messing up on, they ask for help and we can correct them. And today and last week, they all did a good job.
We're just trying to get better each and every week, and that sounds cliche, but you know, that's kind of how we take things, and we're just excited to do it together, and we're excited to just keep getting better.
These are all my best buds, so I mean, it's just a hell of a time every time we're out there.
And that chemistry will be put to the test again this weekend when the Hawks will take on Northern Iowa here at home. Reporting from Kinnick Stadium, this has been Lucy Rodin for DITV Sports.
And following this weekend's performance against Iowa State, sophomore defensive end A.J. Apenza was named Big Ten Co-Defensive Player of the Week.
AJ had 5 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble against the Cyclones. But in other news, the Iowa basketball program announced that Luca Garza underwent surgery last Friday to remove a benign cyst. With more, we have Declan Levi in our Iowa basketball studio. Declan?
Center underwent surgery for a benign cyst located in his abdomen. Right now, Garza is out indefinitely as there is no timetable for his return. Head coach Fran McCaffrey said the procedure went well, and he looks forward to him rejoining his teammates in the fall. Garza is one of 2 Hawkeyes to total 400 points and 200 rebounds as a freshman. Hopefully he'll be back before the season opener on November 8th when Iowa takes on University of Kansas, Missouri. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Declan. Hopefully Luca will have a quick recovery and be back on the court soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think they really need him on the court, and I think that's just a horrible thing to go through.
I definitely agree.
Especially as an athlete. But come back tomorrow to hear more from the Iowa football team as they prepare to face Northern Iowa this weekend.
Becca and Anthony, guys, back to you.
Singer and songwriter John Legend broke 2 records over the weekend.
The 39-year-old became the first African-American man to win an EGOT, as well as become one of the youngest recipients of the award.
EGOT stands for the 4 big awards in the entertainment industry: Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. The singer won an Emmy on Sunday night for producing the Best Variety Special winner, Jesus Christ Superstar Live.
Legend currently has 10 Grammys and won an Oscar for his song Glory in the film Selma. His Tony Award was awarded for his role as co-producer of the Broadway production Jitney.
Other notable EGOT recipients include Whoopi Goldberg, Audrey Hepburn, and Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber.
That's awesome. And that's all we have for you on this Tuesday morning edition of DITV News.
Be sure to head over to DailyIowan.com for all your latest news every day of the week.
And if that is enough of the Daily Iowan for you, be sure to check out the print edition of the Daily Iowan on newsstands now.
For DITV, I'm Becca Scadden.
And I'm Anthony Caligiuri. Have a great day, Iowa City, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Same time, same place.